What's going on, YouTube world and YouTube tribe? Welcome back to LilBigMan Gaming, bringing you see that a review for Supergirl Season 6, Episode 16, called Nightmare in National City. This was an interesting episode because this was one of them episodes where the hero, with the cliche of the hero, is being pulled into me different directions. So it's time to reevaluate. And that's pretty much what this episode is pretty much about. But you'll see what I mean in the synopsis. It says, Kara lands her dream story for Catco, but when the city is suddenly attacked by a nightmare monster at the same time as her interview, she is forced to take a serious look at her life and decide if she can continue to live as both Kara and Supergirl. So, what this episode was getting at is that this whole, well, we'll get into it. So basically, the totem in this episode that was on the race, for it was the Dream Totem, and this was just what you thought was going to be a Dream Weaver. You know, that's what I thought, like Dream Weaver, and was going to be about, like Dream Weaver being the episode where it was about Supergirl and about Nia. But this was basically a combination. This episode was actually about Supergirl and Nina, and then you got the sub story about Lex Luthor, which I will say right now, because I probably won't mention it again, but because it only happened once. There is a Lex Luthor payoff for this episode, but it's only one time in this episode, and I ain't gonna tell you where, but you gotta go check. If you haven't already checked it out, go check it out now. But there's a Lex Luthor payoff in this episode, but I think it picks up I can't fully remember because I've seen watched a lot of stuff today, so my memory's kind of wonky. But I think I want to say it picked up right where the last episode left off, with her receiving receiving the gift from Lex Luthor, his gift of his suit gift, and he, instead of hearing his voice within the suit, she heard her own voice, and she was very skeptical of it because she didn't know like why she would need to trust whoever sent her the suit and why would it have her voice. But it bring up a valuable question that don't really get answered in this episode per se. But I guess they're saving it for the next episode of why and how the Lex Luthor mech suit had her voice and knew everything about Nixley. But that's how they got Nixley. That's how Lex or whoever was controlling the suit to get Nixley to trust her. And they knew everything about Nixley that Nixley didn't even tell people, like personal secrets and stuff. So she would use this. It would instruct her about what totem to go for next, and that totem would be the Dream Totem. And Supergirl and them quickly basically pick up on this, that Nixley was going for the Dream Totem, and they try to devise a plan to stop her, but they realize the only way to truly stop her from getting the Dream Totem is by having Nina access. They try to figure out, because this was in her realm of expertise. I think they eventually figure out that the Dream Totem is actually in the dream world, but she doesn't know where to begin or how to find it, because she doesn't really know. Her and Brandy having like this morning breakfast about how she tried to look for the Dream Totem, even with the Hope Totem destroyed. They don't want Nixie to try to put whatever's left of the totems together to still have enough to maybe thinking maybe she, even with the one piece of the equation destroyed, she might still be able to do some damage with what's left of the totems. So they try to go find the dream totem, and it appears, it does appear that there was no ramifications for destroying the whole totem. But yeah, they eventually Nia, she basically she wired her search, and it takes her to this lady's office, this person's office with the last name Reeve. I think it was a callback to Matt Reeve, but yeah, the last name was Reeve. So Nia decides to go pursue this aspect of it, while Nixley, thanks to Lex, thanks to Lex suit, instruct her on how to open a portal to the dream world herself. This would bring on Supergirl, Martian Manhunter, and I think Alex was with them. I couldn't remember if it was Alex or Brainy who came with them, but they end up coming to confront Nixley, who used the Lex suit to keep them at bay, and used the power of the totem, of her gauntlet and totem, to open a portal to the dream world. And it's through this that the nightmarish monster, basically night, or with that, and that's exactly what Brainy calls it. Now I remember Brainy wasn't with them because he was the one who, I guess, told him over comms. Off screen though, it wasn't like you heard him say. I think it was off screen that Brainy informed him that was a nightmare monster from the dream world. So due to this, they decided to try to find the monster, and I think the monster was heading towards because I think it's its primary source of power is akin to nuclear, a nuclear power from a nuclear plant, and that's what it was heading to. But it could actually, they was feared that it could cause a meltdown, and a catastrophic meltdown, and they didn't want that to happen. So Supergirl, thinking quickly, not knowing exactly what to do, would instruct them to erect this barrier. They put a little barrier around, not all, but just enough to cut the monster off from the nuclear plant, and then it goes invisible. So now they lose track of it. So they spend the majority of the episode trying to find it. That's where it kind of shifts from the perspective kind of shifts, and the hunt for the dream totem kind of goes from the forefront of the episode just back a little bit to behind Kara and Nia's personal problem. So this is where the whole Kara dreams drive come in. She got this interview with one of these diplomats about the peace summit. I think it was an interview the interview was basically meant to highlight a particular subject that could actually bring about true change and true hope for a better tomorrow. And she's excited about this, but she still don't know she got the nightmare monster looming about. And she's like, okay, I could do it. We could do this. I could have this dream interview and stop this monster at the same time. But then that don't go as according to plan. But we shift back to Nia. Nia has tracked down this Reeve, and it looked like it was a office to a therapist. Some type of therapist office. It was I assumed it was a therapist office, but she could have been she had a whole bunch of books, and the person had a whole bunch of books in the office. So they could have been an archaeologist, but it would turn out the lady in question with the last name Reeve was actually Nia's sister, and this puts a hamper on the whole situation, because now Nia oh God, if I didn't, she's upset now because she realized the person that her dream led her to, you know, that might have information about how to access the dream world to where the totem might be, was her sister, because her sister, you know, in her anger that Nia was the one who got the dream powers and became Dreamer. She took all the information and everything about all the books and information about what Dreamer is and how to be Dreamer with her. So that's one of the reasons why throughout this season, and I think the previous season, Nia always kept having like this backstory with her struggling with her powers, because she's so far behind of being knowing what being Dreamer is, because she didn't have a mother. She didn't have her mother's books and knowledge because her sister took it. Because I think that was like I think that was the previous season when she got into an argument with her. And just piggyback off of it was that now they have this conversation basically about her keeping secrets, and you know, about the Dreamers, and you find out that Nia's sister knows that Nia is Dreamer, the superhero Dreamer, and so they have this conversation. They find out, you know, then she like, well, you know, this wasn't my first choice. I wouldn't have came here if I knew it was you. You changed your name and all that type of stuff. So I didn't really know it was you. If I had, I probably wouldn't have showed up. But I'm here now because my dream, using the dream powers, it let me hear about information about the dream, about the dream totems, and what she knew about the totems. Nia's sister tells her the information about the totems, not knowing that it was real, until Nia confirms that they are real. And that's the reason why she's here, because it's a matter of life or death for the entire planet and maybe the universe. And so Nia's sister reluctantly agrees to help her, and tells her, you know, shows her why her dream power is stronger here, because she had a whole bunch of books locked away. She had like this cabinet full of books, and Nia like, so which one of these are the books about dreams? And Nia's sister like, all of them. So they end up reading and find out this little tapestry that had like this little illustration and stuff. They had a little illustration and writing on it, and they realized that the tapestry in question was actually a map to where the totem was in the dream world, and that you could use this, combining, touching it with the dreamer's power, could transport them to the dream world, and help them find. You know, I guess this is a part of the dream world that you could physical people could go to if they knew if they had the right way to access it. And at the same time, we see Nixie in the dream world following this path, and she's unsure about this path because she still doesn't fully trust this mech suit. So she's like, you know, I don't really trust you, but you know, I don't know if you leading me to a trap. But Nia and her sister, they're there now. They're searching for it. They see like these big pillars, and they having this conversation about how to actually find it. And it said on the tapestry that the pillar is supposed to be the biggest, for it to be more bigger than the normal pillars of these white pillars. And I guess within that pillar, it would be the dream totem. So as they are walking, Nixley is still talking with the mech suit version of herself, and she sees another nightmare monster running past her, and she was like, "What was that?" She was like, "You can go investigate if you don't trust me, or you could listen to me and follow the path I told you, and look around the corner." So Nixley, having two options, she's like, "All right." So she turns back and follows what the mech version suit of her is telling her to go, and look around the corner, and she sees Nia and her sister, and she realized why the suit was leading her there. Somehow the suit knew that Nia and her sister was going to be there, and it's basically instructing her to follow them, like to sneakily follow them, and it will lead them to the totem. So in doing so, they follow the totem, and I want to say, well, I want to say, yeah, they followed. They followed that. So back to Supergirl. Supergirl now have she's starting to figure out the struggles. The struggles of the mayor is now coming down on her about this dome. They know the Super Friends, as they're being called now, has enacted this dome, and she wants them to take it down, but they can't. They trying to tell her they can't take it down right now because of the monster, and so, but she's not. She cares. But then, like, it kind of backfired. But then they realized, wait a minute. So So you're saying you put this dome up to stop this monster from getting to the planet, but that's also bad in itself. Because now you just trap everybody who's within this dome from being able to get out and go to work, do all this other stuff. See their kids, because it's kids that's trapped on the other side of it, and then on top of that, most importantly, you trapped us in a dome with a monster that we can't find right now. So they said, they asked her for 24 hours to get this device that would help them lure the monster away from the planet and back into the other dimension. She tells Alex, "You got 12." This pressure, along with the pressure of being constantly being late. I think she was late for the one interview, and Angela, she got I think I just said it right. The head of CATCO. She would reschedule the interview. Supergirl would show up at his car for the interview, but they was late. So the monster problem happened, and the dome. Supergirl explained that the dome is coming up. I can see it. They undoing the dome right now. Panic started to ensue because people were trying to break through the barrier themselves. People was panicking. They ended up having to stop that. So it was a lot of things going on. And I think, like, Kara, when she went to go finally deal with the nightmare monster and help defeat it, she would go back to the interview, thinking, she had time since they was late, and she would get back to the interview, and she would get back to the interview only to find out that the setup was all gone, and she like the QA, the dude who, like, I want to say QA, or the behind the scenes dude that tell her that it's time, they alive, and it's time for the interview. You see him just messing with the TV and all the interview equipment gone. She's like, "What happened? I thought they was late." And he said, "Yeah, they wasn't that late." He said, "I told you they was late, but not that late. They got here, you wasn't here." So he basically, I think they said he left or did something else, and she went to go apologize to Angela, and she kind of scolded her and told her that you're not here. I think that was an earlier conversation about her not being here, and they would basically, I think William tried to talk to her about figuring out what Kara wants, and so that she could focus on something and not be in two places, or being focused on two things at once. This led Kara to when she found out that Angela had, once again, for the second or third time, rescheduling. It got saved her bacon, and got this interview rescheduled for tomorrow. Kara makes a rash decision by giving the interview to William, because he knew more. He was more well prepared, and that she realized that because she admits that she's not really all there, and that maybe she was maybe they were right about her not being there, and she makes a decision to quit CATCO and go full time as Supergirl. They were Nia and they will figure out how to find the totem, only to be confronted by Nixley, who has a battle with Nia. Nia gets this charm from her sister, like this necklace that her sister's wearing, that's glowing gold. And once touched by, once in the hands of Dreamer, she actually gets a power boost to be able to fight Nixley and win. But Nixley will escape with the Dream Totem, and once she leaves, and once they dealt with the monster, they will find out that Nia would tell them that they found the Dream Tunnel, but Nixie got away with it, and that now the race is on to stop Nixie from getting some more Totem. Once again, now she's also, while they have two, she has one. And then then that's the clip where we get to the cliffhanger, which I won't tell you what it is, but there is a cliffhanger that leads into the next episode. Overall, if I were to give this episode anything, I'll give it a 9 because it wasn't a perfect 10. I really didn't. I think the only thing I had a problem with was that for a episode that you would thought was going to be Lex Luthor heavy, for him to only show up at one spot in the episode kind of like hampered it. So that's why I gave it a 9 instead of a 10, because otherwise it was a good episode. It just I thought it was going to be more Lex Luthor-y. But let me know what you thought in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my reviews. And if you enjoyed the video so much you want to support the channel, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become part of the fam, become part of the tribe, like so many have done already. And hit the notification button so you get notified when I drop videos. As always, hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content. But I am out. I'll be back. I got one more review for you. So I'm not out, but see you in the next one.